listen from where we're supposed to be, which is in the community, taking care of the community and making and creating a community for ourselves. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
But it's not only in England, it's in
Yes, sir.
most of you.
Other people
His world as well.
who
You have to
they
be bold.
spend
You have to be
the totality
wearing
of their
suits,
existence
and you have to say
raping
all white
and
people are
robbing.
devil. Why? Because
They
bloody.
want you to believe that they
Why?
are
Is Allah black
good
man?
and righteous
Is Allah
people.
black man, ya khanzir?
But when you
Answer.
look at their record,
Is Allah black man,
you
ya
will
khanzir?
see very quickly
Is Allah black man, ya
that
khanzir?
their record
What color is
does
it?
not
Allah.
match their behavior.
What color is it? I don't know.
And they want you to believe that they are the people written of in the scriptures as the children of Israel. But this is a diabolical scheme, a diabolical lie, when in reality the Israelites are not these people today who are primarily from Europe. Many of you
Is Allah black
believe
man?
that Israel, because of its location, by the way, it's located in
Allah black
Northeast
man?
Africa.
Is Allah black man, ya
You
khanzir?
believe that this
Is Allah black
place
man? You
that
are racist
today is
against Africa.
labeled
You
Israel
are munafiq. You are a
that this
hypocrite.
place
You don't like the
is
African, ya
the
khanzir. You
equivalent
think you are
of
superior
the
because
place
you enslaved.
written of
You
in the
enslaved in America
scriptures,
and did shit.
and it
And
is
you are
related to the
Africans
people
who fought
called
with
the
themselves
Israelites.
and didn't get captured and didn't enslaved.
But what you may not
They are better than you.
appreciate
Huh?
is
Allah.
that before
Is Allah black man?
they
ya
went
khanzir?
to Palestine,
Palestine, ya khanzir.
before they went to Palestine
Allah black man?
and chose to
Is Allah black?
push
Answer
the
me. Answer me, ya
Palestinians
khanzir.
out of that area and
Answer
to
me.
take it over
Answer me.
and to call it
Answer
Israel.
me. Answer me, ya khanzir.
Before that
Is
time,
Allah black man?
the
Answer me.
Zionists
Is Allah black
were
man?
offered
Elijah Muhammad's
and they
prophet?
nearly accepted
Is Elijah Muhammad's prophet?
Uganda in Africa as a Jewish homeland.
Is Allah
They
black
were
man?
looking around
Ya khanzir.
for a place
Is
that they could call their own. And before Palestine, they were offered
I am not gonna
Uganda
let you.
and they
Is
nearly
Allah-
accepted
Is Allah
Uganda.
black man, ya khanzir? Is Allah black man, ya khanzir? Don't smile. I told you ya khanzir and you smile. I told you khanzir,
Are
you
you
smile.
going to
Look,
answer him?
I
Leo?
don't-
Because
answer me.
He's taking liberties.
Answer me. Is Allah black man, ya
Put him to
khanzir?
bed.
Is white people are
Put him to
devil?
bed,
Two
Leo.
questions. Two questions.
If
Finish your
I
mouth.
Is Allah khanzir?
If
Is
I
Allah
was to
khanzir
waste
like you?
waste my time
Waste my time.
in answering such nonsense,
Nonsense.
it would be the equivalent
You said
of
it.
me trying to have a conversation with a
You
slug.
said it, ya khanzir. You said it, ya khanzir.
I don't waste my time
You said it.
talking to
You
vermin.
said it, ya khanzir. You said it. If I am khunfusah,
Khunfusane.
you are a
You're a
monkey.
slag
If I am
khunfusane.
what khunfusah?
And
What
so-
You don't know what you don't speak Arabic? What kind of a
This
fucking
demonstrates
Muslim are you?
if I am khunfusah, you are a monkey,
that
khanzir.
the Zionist
Is
leader,
Allah black man?
Theodore
Is Allah
Benjamin
black man? Is
Herzl,
Is Allah black man, ya khanzir?
and his
Is
supporters
Allah black man, ya
were
khanzir?
actually indifferent
Is Allah
to the
Is Allah black
historical
man? Ya
Jewish
The pot calling the
homeland,
kettle black.
is
and they
Allah-
did not
is
appreciate
Allah
Calling
black
him a
man?
kafir.
the unique
Is Allah
relationship
black man?
between the Jews
Allah black
and the
man?
land of Israel.
Ya
From their
khanzir.
perspective, there was nothing unique
Is Allah
about
black man?
that
ya khanzir?
area.
Is Allah
They
black
would
man?
have taken any
Is
place
Allah the
because
Almighty black man, ya khanzir?
those people were being persecuted
Is
all
Allah-
over Europe
Is
by their
Allah-
own kith and kin, by
Is
other
Allah-
white people.
Is
This
Allah
is
the Almighty
this
black man?
argument of anti-Semitism, this argument of Jews and
Why you
Gentiles
have anti-white?
is
Why
a
you say
tribal
anti-white?
argument
Why you say white people are
between
devil?
Caucasian people
If you are
in
not
Europe.
racist bastard, why you say
This is the reality
Why?
of the argument
Why
that
you
is
say-
going on our
Why
planet
you
today.
say? Why you say?
And the
white
Europeans
people devil? Why
Have
you
left
say?
Europe and brought their argument into
Why
the
you
world and try to involve everybody else in this false argument of anti-Semitism, when in reality it is a tribal war between different sects of Caucasian people. This is what you are witnessing when you hear this about anti-Semitism.
You racist khanzir! Why you say white people devil?
Here is the fact.
Why?
Why you call white people devil when they give him British passport? When they give him British, when they give him benefits,
none of the
why do
land
you call them devils?
that was offered by the British today is in present-day Uganda. In fact, they moved from Uganda and they began offering them land in Kenya.
Them at the same time.
I'm just giving you the history and the background to present-day Israel. They looked at Uganda, they looked at Kenya before they ultimately settled on what is today Palestine.
In Egypt they will arrest you for terrorism. You're a terrorist, mate.
Zionists who were willing to consider the plan, they wanted to create a Jewish refuge and save Jews from the pogroms and anti-Semitism that was in Eastern Europe.
You're a hypocrite.
This is the reality of what was happening in Europe among tribal Europeans. And they wanted to escape from their own place in Europe, in Eastern Europe, to find a haven. And so they were looking around in Uganda and looking around in Kenya. At the beginning of the 1900s, Palestine was under Turkish rule.
Go for your drugs, ya khanzir.
And
What
negotiations
Palestine?
between
What
the
Palestine?
Turks
What
and the
Palestine?
Zionists
What Palestine?
concerning the creation
Palestine?
of a Jewish state
with the Israelis
in Palestine failed to progress.
MBS. What's MBS?
In their desperation
Maybe
to find a sanctuary for Eastern European Jews suffering from poverty,
Is Allah black man?
discrimination,
Is Allah black man, ya
and deadly
khanzir?
pogroms.
Is Allah black man, ya
Zionist
khanzir?
leaders,
Is Allah black man, ya
particularly
khanzir?
Herzl
Is Allah black man, ya khanzir?
and his
Is all white people
assistant
khanzir?
Leopold
Is all
Greenberg,
white people?
they began meeting
Son of a devil.
with
He's calling them a
Joseph
pig.
Chamberlain
He's calling them pigs.
and other British leaders in search of a
He's your fellow
solution
Muslim brother.
within the British Empire. So understand that these Eastern European white people turn to the British government
Came all the way from
in
Australia.
order to assist them
Where's my brother
to
Australian?
find
Where's my
a
Muslim brother
homeland
from Australia?
for themselves,
Where's the
whilst
Muslim
at
of
the same
Australia?
time
Raise
they
your
were
hand,
talking to
brother.
the Turks
They come and say salam alaikum.
to try to
from
secure for
Australia.
themselves some place that they could call home away
Is
from
Allah
Eastern Europe.
black man, ya khanzir? Answer.
Modern day European
Is Allah
Israel,
black man, ya khanzir?
modern day
Is white
European
people, all
Israel
white people devil, ya
does
khanzir?
not fulfill the biblical prophecies and scriptures of the
You are
children
transformer
of
white
Israel.
people. Steve, you are Zionist.
Nor do they fulfill
Is
the prophecy
Allah black
of a
man?
people
Is Allah black
going
man?
into the promised
Is
land.
Allah black man, ya khanzir?
These are not the people
Is Allah
that
black man, ya
the scripture
khanzir?
is talking
Is
about.
Allah black man, ya khanzir?
All religion is
The Balfour Declaration was a public statement
Is Allah
issued by
black
the
man, ya
British
khanzir?
government in
Is Allah black
1917
man, ya khanzir? Answer.
during the First World War,
Defend your God.
where the British government was announcing its support for the establishment of a national
Is
homeland
Is Allah the Almighty?
for the Jewish people
Khanzir.
in Palestine,
Allah.
You invited him.
which was then
Is Allah.
Ottoman region with a small minority of Sephardic
Is
Jews,
Allah. Must have been
Sephardic
ya
Jews
khanzir.
being
Son of a
indigenous
man.
Jews to that region.
We know Steve is theology.
Religion.
But all
That
white
small
people,
Sephardic
theology,
Jewish
theology,
population was there. But now,
theology.
these European Jews
all white people,
are making a deal
all
with the
white,
British
all
government
white people, devil,
under the Balfour Declaration
all white people,
to
devil,
come into that area and to occupy that area.
You are bloody slave, and still a slave, and you're gonna be slave.
America.
You are a slave.
The declaration
Slave. Forever slave.
was contained in a letter
Say Allah Akbar.
America is in charge of the
dated
Muslims.
the 2nd of November
Recite
1917
one verse from Quran.
from the United Kingdom's Foreign
Capitalism and
Secretary
religion, they work
One
together.
verse.
Arthur
Through
Balfour.
mankind.
Why
And
all
this letter
white
was
people,
written
devil?
to Lord
Answer me.
Rothschild.
Answer me, ya khanzir.
The letter was from Arthur
Answer.
Balfour,
Why you
written
kill Malcolm
to
X?
Lord
Ya bastard.
Rothschild.
Why you kill Malcolm X? Why you kill brother?
was a leader
Malcolm Shabazz, ya
of the
bastard.
British Jewish
Why you
community
kill our brother?
for
Why you
transmission
kill
to the
Malcolm
Zionist
X? Ya
Federation
bastard.
of Great
Why you
Britain
kill
and
Malcolm
Ireland.
X?
This
Ya
is where
bastard.
the letter
Why
was
you
sent
kill Malcolm X?
to the Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. These were Zionists and not necessarily Jews.
Why ya khanzir?
The text of the declaration
Why ya khanzir?
was published in the
Why you
press
kill Malcolm X, ya khanzir?
of the 9th of
Why
November
you kill our brother? Our black
1917.
brother, Malcolm Shabazz, the Muslim, the Sunni.
The letter from the Foreign Office at the time reads as follows.
Why you kill
The letter says,
Malcolm X, ya khanzir?
Dear
Is Allah
Lord
black man?
Rothschild,
Is Allah black man?
I have much pleasure
Is Allah
in
have to be
conveying to
many
you on behalf of His Majesty's government
right,
the
left, and
following
center.
declaration of
And Jeremy,
sympathy
the son of a
with
muta.
Jewish Zionist
That's theology.
aspirations,
That's theology.
which has been submitted to and approved
We
by
don't say
the
Steve.
cabinet of His Majesty's government, which views with favour the establishment
We don't say.
in Palestine
We don't say.
of a national home for the Jewish
He's the
people,
devil. He's a transporter.
facilitate the achievement of this objective.
Why ya khanzir? Why?
Being clearly
Why?
understood that nothing shall be
Why?
done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in
You
Palestine,
are nation of no Islam.
or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country.
You are,
I should be
you are
grateful
nation of snakes.
if you would bring this
You are a
declaration
snake and a fool.
to the knowledge of
Why?
the Zionist
Why Allah?
Federation.
Why?
What the letter
Why
represents
Allah?
is the conspiracy
Why Allah?
between the British government
Why Allah?
and the Zionists for the creation and the
Why
establishment
Allah black
of
man?
a
Ya
Jewish state
khanzir.
in land that was
Why
already
Allah?
occupied by Palestinian people. By the way, land
Why
which was
Allah?
already occupied
Why
by people
Allah black
who are
man?
Semitic people.
Why? Why Allah black
The
man?
Palestinian people
Leave the
are a
Palestinians.
Semitic
Talk about the
people.
black, ya khanzir.
The
Talk about
Arabs
the black, ya
in
khanzir.
the
Why talk about the
Arabian
Palestinians?
Peninsula are Semitic people.
Why?
In order for us to be anti-Semitic would mean that we would have to be against the Palestinians as well. We would be prejudiced against Palestinians. We would be prejudiced against Arabs. We would be prejudiced against such people because they
Ya
too,
khanzir.
because they too
Ya
are
khanzir.
Semitic people.
We need the freedom.
Ya khanzir ala
Step
kusha.
back, step back.
The Balfour Declaration itself reads like this.
Yes.
Preach! His Majesty's government
Muhammad is khanzir.
view
The
with
first
favour
line. Leo Muhammad is khanzir.
the establishment in
Palestine.
Palestine
Palestine.
of a national home for the Jewish people.
Leo Muhammad.
I will use their best and we will use our best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object.
دعوا دعوا بالمتعة دعوا دعوا بالمتعة والمنى
That nothing
دعوا
shall
دعوا
be
لأنه
done
الكافر يصنعوا
which
متعة
may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews
سيستم
in
ربي
any other
انت
country.
ابن متعة انت
So as you can see, the declaration itself
Why Allah is a black man يا خنزير Why?
is in sync
Why Allah is a black man يا خنزير
letter to Rothschilds,
Why Allah is black man
and it
يا
compounds
خنزير
again the fact that this so-called
Why
Jewish
Allah
state
is a black man يا
is
خنزير
nothing in keeping with the scriptures that is contained in the Bible, but it is in fact a political imposition by the British and the Zionists on the people of Palestine.
This guy
According to
work for Sheraton.
Semites,
This guy work for
Aloni,
Hilton. And this guy son of a muta. Son of the muta. Front and back.
who is a former Israeli government minister,
Today,
she says that the cry of anti-Semitism is a big trick.
And I've said no.
I'm going to say that again. According to Shulamit Aloni,
number one.
who is a former
Number one,
Israeli
humanity,
government minister,
religion, last
she
one.
states
Because it's your
emphatically
personal belief.
that the cry of anti-Semitism
You
is
can
a
believe
big
what you
trick.
like. I don't care what
In
you
a
believe.
2002
I only care for you other women.
Democracy Now!
If I like you,
interview,
respect me.
the former
You know?
government minister had the following point put to her by the host, Amy Goodman.
By the Holy Spirit.
Amy Goodman said,
By
often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
you can believe what you like.
Aloni said, her reply was, well, it's a trick. We always use it.
No Italian. No Italian.
We always use this trick.
You are white man.
Then she continues.
I am black man.
She says when Europe, she said when from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country, talking about America, Israel is being criticized, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country, the United States, people are criticizing Israel, then we bring up anti-Semitism. She said, there is an Israel, my country, right or wrong attitude, and they are not ready to hear any criticism. Anti-Semitism, the Holocaust, the suffering of the Jewish people were used to justify everything we do to the Palestinians claimed alone. So here is a former Israeli government minister confessing that this cry of anti-Semitism is a big trick that they use to silence dissent or to silence any criticism against that state that was put in place by the British government and the Zionists. The Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is our leader, teacher and guide, and the nation of Islam, we have been falsely accused of anti-Semitism for many, many years. But unlike so many other individuals and groups, the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, we have never allowed these false allegations to cause us to bow down to the big lie. Because unlike others who are accused. As original black people, we cannot be anti-Semitic unless we be against our own selves. It is impossible for a black man and a black woman who are the original people of the earth to be anti-Semitic unless we be against our very selves. We are the mothers and the fathers of the Semitic people. That's who we are. If it wasn't for black people, there would be no Semitic people. There would be no Semites. They come from us. If we are anti-Semitic, we would have to be, as I said a moment ago, against the Palestinian people as well, because they are also a Semitic people. And so this is to prove the big lie that these so-called Jews continuously scream aloud to squash dissent and to prevent anybody from criticizing the wicked policies of the Israeli government and some of the policies that are carried out in other parts of the world by so-called Jewish people. Also, Jew or Jewish is not a race. I want you to hear me. Jew or Jewish is not a race. Just as Muslim is not a race. Just as Christian is not a race. There is no such thing as a Jewish race. But you will hear constantly this refrain on your television screens, where these people will try to hoodwink the members of the human family into believing them to be some unique and special race of people, when in reality it is a religion like all other religions. Muslim is a religion, Jew is a religion, and Christianity is a religion. It is not a race. There is no such thing as a Jewish race. It is a damnable lie. In Islam, you can have black people, you can have white people, you can have yellow people, you can have red people. The same in Christianity. It cuts through race. The same in any religion. It cuts through race. So why do you have these fake Jews claiming to be a race of people? Because then they want to intermingle racism with anti-Semitism, because emotively it gets everybody upset and makes everybody, because nobody wants to be called a racist. So they lump themselves in now and try to make out that they are a race of people under persecution. It is a big trick and a big lie. Great.
And the Palestinians are Semitic too. This is the irony, you know.
That's right. That's right.
The Palestinians are more Semitic than the
That's
Jews.
right.
European people.
Now,
That's not true. That's not true.
in the nation